When this is all said and done, I'm gonna be the first man to beat the Me Too movement. If only your daddy had just beat his meat instead of nutting off in your mama.
You are now listening to The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast hosted by Kay on Spotify. A podcast aimed to uncover and share the stories behind heinous and insane acts that have been overlooked or overshadowed by mainstream media, getting justice for the voices that can't speak.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kay, and I am the host of The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast. A podcast designed to focus on crimes committed in the Black community that you don't hear about in mainstream media, giving a voice to those victims that have otherwise been silenced. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast. Ladies, how y'all feel? Fellas, y'all all right? It is Thursday, May 1st, and your girl is exhausted. Y'all, I definitely want to apologize. The episode dropped on Sunday, and then I started getting a ton of messages saying that they were only getting half the episode for whatever reason. So I had to go in and re record the entire episode because it just was not working with me. Riverside was being just crazy. And so I had to go in and re-record the entire episode plus re-edit, which was tiring. But I wanted to make sure that I gave y'all an episode before the normal episode on Sunday. I didn't want y'all to be, missing a week or whatever. So again, apologies for that. Even though that happened, this week has been a major blessing. I've had some, really unexpected surprises. Good nonetheless. And it's the last week of the celebrities who thought they were about that life series. So, I really wanted to go out with a bang. I've got a lot of events coming up, one of which, of course, is the live show, and it is sold out. Ew. I actually put up 10 more tickets. So if you didn't get a chance to purchase the tickets the first time, they are available for a limited time. Okay. Very limited. And actually, there's only 8 tickets left because somebody already bought two. Also, your girl got two book signings coming up this month. One is in Perry, Georgia at the Tattoo Expo, May 9th through the 11th. And the other is the Boozy Book Tour in Raleigh, North Carolina, May 17th. So, I'm feeling good about things that's coming up and all of that. I got a couple of trips planned over the summer. Granted, they're work related, but trips nonetheless. And, I'm gonna squeeze in some fun here and there, kind of wild out a little bit. Summertime is, mom time or hot girl summer, whatever you want to call it, because them kids will be gone. Okay. But I definitely want to thank you all for being so supportive of this series and, of course, BTCC. Many of y'all were trying to figure out what it was, and some of y'all came so close to guessing too. Like, everybody was like, oh, what's the BTCC? What is it? What is it? So, it's the Black True Crime Collective. It consists of my podcast, The Infamous Ones, Melanin Mysteries with Tiffany and Willie, Melanin Mayhem with the country girl Renee Davis, A Sip of Red Rum with Brittany and Deja, and Not My Brother's Keeper with King Arthur. And so we are the Black True Crime Collective. We got a lot of great things in store. We just announced our group last week. So, make sure that you stay tuned because we've got a very big announcement coming soon. One of many, actually. And I mean, like, it's going to be dropping any day. Okay. But for now, let's go ahead and get into the last episode of this series of celebrities who thought they was about their life. We've covered Lloyd Avery, Ray Caruth, C. Murder, and today's episode is definitely gonna have y'all angry as fuck. So y'all already know y'all gonna need something to sip on. As for me, tonight I am doing something simple. I'm sipping on some double XL peach. Kind of, keeping it calm because I do have to go to work tomorrow. So yeah, I gotta be able to focus. And it's gonna be like a very light glass. Now, what are y'all sipping on? I hope it's something good. So, for me, I got my snacks ready, my popcorn, my hot tamales. So, let's get into it. Let's hop on in and buckle up because it's time to ride back about 11 years. As this episode does involve the rape of several minors, however, listener discretion is advised. Again, this episode does involve the rape of minors, so listener discretion is advised. Now, without further ado, y'all know what time it is. Let's get it. This week's case involves Sydney Stanford, victim, Tierra Kelly, victim, Jade Everon, victim, Jasmine Perez, victim, Kehlani Parrish, Kaylin's supposed girlfriend and sexual assault advocate, and the infamous rapist of the week, Kaalan Walker. Kaalan Rashad Walker was born March 28, 1995, to Kiyoko Walker in Los Angeles, California. He grew up in various parts of Los Angeles where he was raised by his mother and stepfather, well, later on by his stepfather. Unfortunately, there's not much on Kalen's childhood, but what I do know is that he attended Chatsworth High School, and while he was in high school, he was part of this dance group, Marvel Inc. Now, I don't know if it was kind of like correlated with Marvel as far as the Marvel universe, because this little nigga did look like Ebony Maw from Avengers, like that little creature that was helping Thanos and that like killed Doctor Strange. Like, yes, I'm starting early tonight, y'all. My bad. Okay. But he and some other students had a dance group, Marvel Inc. And, he was out there getting it. After high school, he started to attend the University of Southern California. Now, that's according to his Facebook. I don't know if he actually, attended or not, but his Facebook says that he was a student there. But then again, he had like 4 Facebook pages. But at Chatsworth High, he was described as a loner. And honestly, just looking at him, I can believe it. Like, he was a wiry little kid, like one of them kids that just looked like he probably got picked on a lot. Like, the brother is like 5'8" and maybe 130, maybe, and a strong maybe 130 pounds soaking wet. Like, just he just looked like he struggled. Let me just say that Hollywood definitely made him look somewhat better because he was giving very much nerd. And I'm sorry, I listen, Tiffany, if you listening from Melanin Mysteries, when she said that that man was fine, I was like, baby, she need to get her eyes checked because fine where, girl. Okay. Listen, I know I can't talk because I was definitely a nerd in high school, but this Negro here, mm-mm, damn. So after high school, there's not much about him. Now, even though he was raised by his single mother in Los Angeles, he does have family in North Carolina as well. So outside of him being from, 2 different areas of California and North Carolina, Kalen was pretty much just like low key. To me, I feel like he was thirsty as fuck, just from the things that I saw. And I'm about to explain that. So the bad thing about social media is that it doesn't go away. Like, just because you delete a page doesn't mean anything. Like, I was looking at his social media while I was researching the case, and now, like I said, he had like 4 different Facebook pages and a couple of Instagram pages, all of that. But one thing that I noticed about his Facebook page is that this little gremlin looking ass dude posted so much, like, I mean, a whole lot, like several times a day. And they all revolved around relationships and wanting to be loved, or his anger for not being able to talk to somebody, or his sadness, or whatever you want to call it. And I mention that because it's kind of relevant to the episode and it pertains to his character. Well, so some of the posts when you hear them, because I'm going to read some of them, you're going to understand what I mean by like this dude is hella thirsty. Like, he's the type, as soon as he get a girlfriend or as soon as a girl gives him her phone number, he gonna blow that shit up. And then, like, he act like a YN for real. But just looking at his post and from the way that he was talking, he seems like he is very clingy and emotional in relationships. Like, I have to remember that at that time of this whole ordeal, he's like 24-ish because my boy was posting all day, every day. Like, I'm sitting back looking at the post like, nigga, did you sleep? Like, you practically lived on social media. Just looking at some of his statuses just made my head hurt. The author in me is so angry because there were so many grammatical errors and run-on sentences, like this Jiminy Cricket looking boy and his posts were so irritating. Okay, so one of them was from July 2nd, 2012, okay? And it said, "We need to talk before we go deeper in this relationship, and my homeboy Showtime needs to tell your homegirl something before they take it any further, and when we tell you, just listen, okay?" Nigga, why did you post that? That was clearly something that was personal towards somebody. Text them, call them. Why did you post that on social media? Another one he made like a month later on August 13th, 2012, where he posted a picture of himself shirtless with his little scarecrow chest looking out the window and that damn music video glance, all of that. Now, ironically, it was for an EP that he was releasing called Beg For It, but he tagged this girl by the name of Ashley Hart. And the two of them, they're interacting or whatever. And she just like, "Oh, he fine." She was like, "Tiffany, I'm sorry, Tiffany." She gonna kill me. Brother is not cute. I'm sorry. He looked like an Ewok. But anyway, so this little girl, she's like, "Oh, he fine," and he's telling her, "Yeah, girl, I'm gonna make you beg for it. You know you want this dick." And she's all, "Yeah, you right. I do with your bipolar ass." And so he's like, "Well, don't make me mad or sad. Please me like when you happy." But then he turns around and he posts, "Imma holler at you later because the girl just ruined my day in my inbox." So you was just trying to get this girl's pussy. Now you talking about another chick. Okay. And of course, he changed his profile picture like every day. I know y'all are like, "Damn, Kay, get a little nigga a break." Like, he young. Like, he posted a new picture on November 4th, 2012 that caught my attention. And this girl, Alyssa Green, she was like, "Ooh, I love your smile, baby." And he's all cheesy, so of course y'all know he jumped in her DMs, right? But one of the girls that he was really feeling was this girl named Alex Perez. Now, it started at the beginning of January when he started posting about her. January 6th, 2013, he's letting everybody know like he's got this new love. He posts, "I'm finna pass out. She made my night with that smile. That's all I needed." And then he tagged her name. And then the next day he posted another status, "I haven't talked to my baby all day. I'm missing her." 2 days later, his bipolar ass posts another status. "If we don't text no more, then consider our friendship over. I don't need no extra friends that's bullshitting me. If you don't take no effort on trying to keep this friendship, then why should I? Nice knowing you." Then he goes right back to, "My baby bomb as fuck, lucky me." I guess she must have told him like, "Yeah, you need to chill out because you doing the most right now." Because January 15th, 2013, he posts another status that says, "I can't ruin this. Finally found a girl that I love, but I can't even have her as a friend. Tomorrow's our last night talking till I get my shit together." And once again, he tags the same chick, Alex Perez. Young love, I swear, because just a couple of days later, "My baby blew up my notifications. Haha, she the best. I swear nothing compares to my girl." Like it was getting to be so much. It was the drama. I don't know. But as time goes on, he's continuing with these posts. One day he's posting, "She the best," like he DJ Khaled or some shit. Then the next day is, "Fuck these bitches." Like, so about a week later, he finally like posts something completely different where he says, "I'm not talking to no one. I don't have a girl. I'm single and I like it. There's no rush. Just trying to find someone for me. No one that's just gonna play with my feelings. So yes, I'm single, all right? So please stop asking." I guess she must have hurt his little feelings for the last time because he was just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna be single." And so he gets on to the next chick, and February 2nd, he posts, "I'm sad right now, but this girl that's been in my inbox making me feel better. Love all y'all night." Nigga, go to bed. Damn. And of course, y'all know that didn't last long because I know I'm going in tonight. I'm sorry. But, of course, that didn't last long because the next day, here you go with another status, shaking my head. What's love? Because y'all bitches just use that word just to get a negative feeling for you. Like when I say I love you, I mean it. But then again, there's a difference. I might love you as a friend, but not love you as a girlfriend. So know the difference because y'all be taking my love the wrong way. You don't know. Like this nigga is clearly deprived of attention. Okay. Somebody need to put his little ant looking ass on some medications. Like this little Bugs Life looking ass boy is getting on my nerve. And I did see one picture that was on his page, and I don't want to say the young girl's name because I don't know if she's connected to the case or not. But this was disturbing because she was in her underwear and like a tank top, and she looked fairly young, like early teenage years. But he tagged her, and she didn't like, she looked like she didn't like it at all. And she actually commented, "Why you tag me in this?" And just the way that the picture was, it really looks suspicious to me. So during this time, Kaylin has discovered a love for photography. And Instagram was popping at that time, and I think it had just come out not too long ago. But he's taking an interest in photography and he's meeting a lot of Instagram models and whatnot. And he's telling them, baby, I can help you with your career and all of that. Now, at this time, I don't know what the hell he was doing other than dancing, but the girls actually believed him, one of whom was Tierra Kelly. All right, so Tierra Kelly is basically a badass. Like, she's a model, stunt woman, non binary queer model, influencer, creative director. She's literally the whole nine. Like, a lot of people know her from the movie Black Panther because she was one of the Dora Milajes, which was the all women soldiers for Wakanda. She was a part of the makeup department for the TV series Queens. She was also in the movie Perfect, which dropped back in 2018. It was like a weird, like psycho thriller, and she played one of the models in that. She even got an African Oscar in 2014 as a trophy model. So she was established. And honestly, I felt like she was more established than Kaylin. But in 2014, right after she got the African Oscar, Tierra was, flexing and tweeting and everything. And Kaylin sees her tweet, so he hits her up. And he tweets her that, he's interested in doing some photos for her. So she's like, all right, bet. He picks her up and, he's telling her all of these things while he's driving about how he wants to, help models out and how he wants to get like a house for them where they can all stay together and everything. And I'm just thinking like, "Boy, you know damn well bitches is catty as fuck. Like, you can't put a bunch of bitches in the same house together and expect them to get along. Are you crazy? Like, look at some of these reality shows where everybody's under one roof. After that first night, shit goes left, okay?" But he's telling her all of this, and she's, thinking, yeah, it sounds great. So he takes her back to his apartment that he stayed in off of Fig. And y'all, he done told her that him and his mama own the building. Like he going all out with this lie. He's like, oh, well, it's good. We linked up when we did. I'm about to start working with Karuchi. Nigga, okay. Nope, gotta wait. So he puts on some music, trying to set the mood, and it's one of his EPs. And so, he calls himself confiding in her and telling her that, oh, well, I'm just, I'm putting my heart out there, I'm putting my heart into this music. And then he starts talking weird, telling her, it's hard for me because these black girls out here, they don't want nothing to do with me. They be trying to clown me. And, the only black girl I've ever been with was Kaylani, but I ain't never really, been with a black girl before. And yes, he's talking about the singer Kaylani. And Tierra's listening to him like, okay, not really giving a fuck. She's taking in everything that he has to say and all of that. And she's just being polite. Now, they actually do take some pictures, but when he's done, shit kind of goes weird. So Kaylin keeps talking about how he has this big interview with Complex Magazine. And he starts trying to sweet talk her and he's like, "Hey, so I know that you used to strip and all of that, and I know you still working at the club, so I gotta try to, pump my image up a little bit with this magazine interview. What if I like told him that we like, slept together?" And Sierra's like, "What?" But Kaylin, he trying to play it cool. So, he's like, I mean, I'm just saying, I could pay you for it. Now, of course, I'm thinking, well, if you want people to think that you slept with people, just fucking lie. Cause y'all niggas do that shit anyway. But, he's persistent and he's just like, I'll pay you. I just want them to think that, I'm that nigga and not some average sucker. You a simp as fuck. You a thirsty ass nigga. But now, Tierra said in an interview with Hollywood Unlocked at the time and that's Hollywood Unlocked with Jason Lee. Everybody knows Jason Lee. But she said in the interview that she didn't consider it because, she's like, yo, I know I'm not about to like you're not about to come at me like that. And she's like, you're not about to try to offer me money for sex. But she also did say in that same interview, listen, I've done sex work before. And she went on to say, "Well, if the bag is big enough, then yeah, Imma go get it." So, honestly, I don't know. I don't know on that one. But I kinda took that as she was, like, hinting around, like, maybe he just didn't offer enough, or if it had been, a little bit more money, she would have been with it. I don't know. But ultimately, he's telling her, "Hey, I really want this and Imma get it." And the next thing she knows, he's pinning her down and raping her. And Tierra is just in shock. She's screaming and telling him to get off of her, and he just responds with, "I'm almost done." And so he finishes doing what he got to do, and then he gets up, and it's just like, "All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take you home now." And so he drops her off, and when she gets home, she's still processing, like, "What the fuck just happened?" And so she texts him, and she's pissed off, like, "Yo, that was really fucked up what you did." And he's responding and apologizing, and, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Please don't be mad at me." And in that moment, she's not really thinking, to call the police. And so after that, she just kind of goes numb. Now, she did tweet in 2014 that she had been sexually assaulted by somebody, but she never outright said who it was. And, people were kind of commenting about it, but it was never a situation where she pointed the finger directly at Kaylin. Ironically, she had seen him a few times since the assault, and she had told a couple of close friends around her, exactly who it was, but just not the police. And she let her friends know, like, hey, stay away from this nigga. This is the one that did it to me. He's creepy. He's weird. Stay away from him. And so, her friends knew to steer clear of him, and she definitely tried to do the same. And whenever he would approach her, she just kind of, fell back and just tried to get away from him altogether. But it didn't make Kalen no never mind after too long because he had his sights set on a new chick. Now, according to him, and remember, this is all speculation. I stress the word speculation because my black ass is not about to be sued, okay? But according to him, he got into a relationship with someone that is a well known singer and artist, Kaylani Parrish. Now, I say supposedly because, again, not trying to get sued, okay? But according to Kaylin, around 2014, he and Kalani got into a relationship. Now, everybody knows Kalani is the artist that has songs like, Gangsta, After Hours, Nunya, all of those. Well, apparently the two of them met and it was just like instant chemistry. Like they were booed up, hugged up all the time. And according to Kaylin, Kalani was even living with him and his mama for a couple of months. He was ghostwriting her music for her, and she was really starting to, make a name for herself. They were together all the time. Now, around the time they were together, she had dropped a song called Loyal. But according to him, oh, we were just both really immature. And, he's seeing her as wifey, and she's just like, I don't even really want to claim you like that, my nigga. And, of course, he's in his feelings because he's, well, why can't we be together? And she tells him, "Well, baby, listen, I don't want us to label this. I don't want us to say that we together because I don't want no other girl to take you from me." See, this is why all of this is alleged because what girl is gonna want your Bugs Life looking ass? Clearly, any bitch that fuck with him is just about the money. I'm sorry. I know I keep calling this man names, but he is not attractive at all to me. Like he looked like one of ET's fingers or some shit. But supposedly, he's hurt because he's begging and pleading like some little, dumb nigga that need a place to stay for the winter. And he's just like, "Well, baby, I don't want to be nobody's secret." So according to Kaylin, they broke up. And they would break up one minute and then he would try to move on, but she would be blowing up, blowing his spot up. And, he's just, they going back and forth with each other. Well, according to Kaylin, again, one day Kalani goes to the studio and one of her homegirls is with her. And her homegirl comes over to Kaylin's house while she's at the studio, and she sees that, he's just been crying and he's boo-hooing because he loves her so much and he wants to be with her. And he's all curled up on the couch sucking his thumb. Why she leaving me? Why she don't want me? I love her. Dumbass. And the girl is just like, listen, baby, I know that you care about her and you love her, but I'm not gonna lie. I've been feeling you. And just hearing this story made me cringe because this shit sounded it was just oh, it sounded so full of shit. And, in his head, he really thought people was gonna believe this story, but whatever. So the girl is telling him, well, I've been feeling you and I've been wanting to get with you. She don't know what she got, all of that. And so they start fucking right there in his house. And supposedly Kalani comes over and she walks in and she sees her close friend fucking him and she runs out, teary-eyed, and he's chasing after her like it's some music video. Why you getting mad? You didn't want me, remember? You said you didn't want to be with me. And she's supposedly boohooing and flipping out. How could you do this? But nigga, if you ain't together, it still matter. Like even if you not together, it still matters because that's her friend. If this story was true, nigga, she got a right to be upset because that's her friend that you was smashing. I don't give a fuck if we together or not. You fuck my friend, I'ma fuck your ass up. That's just me. Okay. Who this nigga ain't shit, but y'all know I'ma wait until fair or foul because I promise y'all I'ma bake his ass during fair or foul. Anyway, so Kaylin and this girl have fucked, and she's gonna be actually vital to this case later on, but we'll come back to that. Meanwhile, Kalani and Kaylin have broken up again. Well, Kalani's broken up, but then Kalani would hit him up and she asks him to link up. So they reconnect and they have sex. And then a month later, Kalani calls him and she's just like, hey, Kaylin, I gotta tell you something. I'm pregnant. And Kaylin is trying to figure this shit out. He's like, "Yo, you sure?" And she's like, "Yeah, baby, I'm pregnant. I don't know what I want to do." And she's crying and he's pressing her. And, are you sure it's mine? And she was like, "Yeah." So he's all excited to be a father and everything. And he's like, "Okay, we're going to take care of this. We're going to be good parents." All of that uplifting and encouraging and shit. And so they end up going to Planned Parenthood and he's trying to go into the room with her. But she's like, "Nah, babe, just stay out here. I got it." And so he sits out there and he waits, and then she comes out a few minutes later and she's just like, "Oh yeah, my bad. I'm not really pregnant." And Kaylin is pissed, like, "What the fuck you mean you not really pregnant? You told me you was pregnant." And she's like, "I mean, I know, but the doctor said I wasn't really pregnant." So he's beyond furious with her. And, he's telling her, "You know what? Just miss me with that shit. Don't talk to me. Fuck you." And he storms out of there and he's done with her. But then he sees her at an industry party like a month later and she comes up to him again and she's just like, "Listen, I know you mad at me, but I really need to tell you something. Can we talk?" And he's all chill, like, "What's up? What we got to talk about?" And she takes a deep breath and she confesses, "Okay, you know how before I told you I was pregnant and then I found out I wasn't pregnant?" And he's side-eyeing her like, "What the fuck is she about to say now?" And she was like, "Well, when we were at Planned Parenthood, I actually was pregnant, but I had an abortion." And so, the nigga mad. Like, he's like, "Why the fuck do you keep playing these games with me? Why the fuck would you do that and not talk to me about it?" And she's just so apologetic, but he ain't trying to hear it. And I mean, he's just this poor victim. The woman he loved betrayed him, even though he fucked her homegirl. Y'all, do y'all detect the sarcasm I'm throwing right now? But he's done. Okay. He's just like, "I'm done." And he just became a womanizer, just running through women. Only it got worse. So it's 2016, and once again, Kalen is perusing on Instagram, which is seemingly where he meets a lot of these chicks. Now, he's on Instagram and he meets a girl by the name of Jade Everett. And Jade is only 16 years old. Now, see, this is the reason why I do not allow my children to have social media and refuse to let them have it until they pay their own phone bills, meaning when you are grown and out of my house. Because until you can pay your own phone bill, you do not need social media because you can end up in situations like this. And then I got to break my foot off in your ass. I understand that, social media is very popular. You've got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. X has just, I don't even know what's going on with X, but I understand, it's popular right now and I get it. But My kids, now you can text your people, you can call them on the phone, you can go outside, go old school with it. But you're not about to have social media, not until you out my house and are mature enough to handle it. And right now, I know my kids ain't mature enough. Okay. Like, you don't need to have social media for stuff like this. It's too many predators and whatnot. But that's just my personal belief. I can't control what goes on in everybody's household. Do you? So Jade is 16 years old and Kaylin reaches out to her and he sees that, she's an aspiring model. So he's like, yo, you should come through and do a photo shoot with me. And then he tells her, yeah, I work with a lot of people. I work with Karuchi. I work with Drake. I can make you famous overnight. Like, this nigga think he Twister. I can make you a celebrity overnight. Psych. So, first of all, how the fuck are you making others famous and you not even famous yourself, dummy? And she's 16. She don't know any better. She living all the way in Fresno, California. So he's telling her, oh, come through and how he can definitely work with her and make some stuff happen. And so Jade is eager and she agrees. She's believing everything that he's saying. She's young, she's impressionable. And to her, he's an older guy, he's verified. So she hops in the car and she drives from Fresno to LA by herself. And I'm already thinking, where the hell are your parents? Because you're 16 years old. How the hell are you able to go to Los Angeles by yourself? But okay. So she goes to LA, and when she gets there, she's at his crib, and he's telling her the same thing that he told Tierra and God knows who else. He's telling her, oh, yeah, baby, I can make you a star. I can blow you up with your career. I work with a whole bunch of artists in the industry. And she's sitting down on the couch, and before she knows what's happening, he puts her in this like lock position and then puts a pillow over her face. And so she's struggling to break free, but he's got her pinned down. Now, again, this Groot looking ass dude is only 5'8" and scrawny as hell. So even though, he had the six pack and all of that, he's still very much bird. But he rapes her. And when he's done, she gets up and she leaves. And naturally, she's still trying to process what happens. And, he does the same MO with her. He's apologetic and everything to her. And he, hits her up on social media. And she, of course, ignores him. And it wasn't until a couple of years later that she was out that she saw him. And she approached him and, kind of got her power back a little bit. She tells him, like, what you did to me was really fucked up. Like, you were wrong. And of course, she gets emotional and she's crying. And he just gets down on his knees and he's just like, I'm sorry I did that to you. I'm sorry I did that to you. And she looks him in the eyes and says, I forgive you. I have to because I'm living my life very angry all the time. Whoo, baby. Ain't no way in fuck I'm forgiving my rapist. But, everybody heals and deals with their trauma differently. So power to her. So some time goes on, and we're going to kind of fast forward it a bit to 2017. Now, in 2017, Kalen got his first role playing William McGee in the film Kings, which starred Halle Berry. And the movie was about a single mother that took in homeless kids, and she lived in a predominantly Black and Mexican neighborhood. But she had this white neighbor that was like off the rocker. And it was around the era of when Rodney King was, beaten, and those officers that did it were acquitted. And y'all remember how the city was in an uproar and there were riots and all of that. And basically, the two neighbors had to learn to coexist and how to deal with the chaos while thinking about, these young boys. It's kind of one of those think pieces that teaches you, it teaches white and Black people how they really feel and teaches Latinos how to really feel and, all of that. So Kaylin was in that movie with her. And from there, he proceeded to do another appearance where he played Jackson Whitmore in the series In Contempt that starred the beautiful Erica Ash. May she rest in peace. Now, he did 2 episodes of that, and then he also released an EP called The Intermission. So in that moment, dude is a triple threat. He's singing, he dancing, he acting, he's doing fairly well. This little, worm looking from Men in Black is actually doing it. Now, it was rumored, and I emphasize the word rumored because the infamous ones is not trying to be sued. But it was rumored that he and Halle got real close. Now, this is all according to Kaylin, so take this with a grain of salt, okay? Like a whole fucking bottle of Morton's. But it was a rumor that he and Hallie had gotten really close and, they were seen out and about at restaurants and whatnot. And of course, I'm just thinking, all right, yeah, she's out to eat with her castmates because I mean, this boy is a child basically in his early 20s, and Hallie is literally twice his age. But supposedly, he and Hallie got real close. And there's a video of him and her where she's asking to give him head. Now, nigga, okay, me personally, I don't believe this at all. Because first of all, it's Halle Berry. Secondly, Negro, it's Halle Berry. Even if by slim, minute chance she were to do that, why would she do that with you on camera? Like, I'm sorry, I don't trust nothing he says. I just feel like she's a lot smarter than that. But again, I'm gonna get back to that during fair or foul because y'all about to call me Betty Crocker the way I'm about to bake this boy today. Okay. So Kalen is doing fairly well for himself, but he's still doing his photography thing too. And he's hitting up females through Instagram and everything and telling them that he wants to help them with their career and that he's on top and he can help them become established and make a name for themselves. And that's when he hits up another IG fan or IG model, whatever you want to call it, by the name of Sydney Stanford. Now, Sydney, he meets in 2017 when she was 19 years old at the time. She didn't directly go through Kaylin like the other girls. She was kind of like introduced to him through other females. And to her, she feels like those females were like possibly recruiters that, helped him bring in bitches. Now, she's an artist and she knows that Kaylin is also into music. And even though he was acting, he also sang and he released a lot of singles under his stage name, KR. So she meets him on Instagram and he asked her for her phone number and she gives it to him. And he's telling her that he can help her with her music career, the usual. Oh, I'm going to introduce you to Drake, all of that. 19 years old and you thinking you about to meet Drake? Oh, she all for it, baby. And literally on the same day that they DM'd each other, she has him pick her up and meet her in a mutual location. So she parks her car there and they go to his house. This time it's a house off of Coldwater. So I don't know if he had multiple residences or what, but he's telling her the same shit that he told Tierra. Oh yeah, me and my mom own this building, all of that, right? So they get over to his house and immediately Kaylin is just going in, trying to get her to have sex with him and trying to tell her, hey, let's do a sex video. You can get paid off of it. And she's like, no, let's just focus on the pictures. First of all, the minute that this nigga starts talking about doing a sex video, yo, I'm out. Fuck the fact that you drove. I don't know if Uber was out back then or not, but yo, I'm taking a cab or a bus. I don't care. So she's still sitting there, and I guess he was feeling rejected. I don't know. But at some point, she gets up to go to the bathroom and change into something else that he had asked her to change into for the pictures. And then when she gets in there and she starts changing, he just busts up in the bathroom as she's changing, walking around her, looking at her, telling her, you're going to have to work on that body. You're going to have to work out. You got problem areas. You are built like a freaking wire and got the audacity to tell somebody they got to work on their body. Okay. So at this point, Sydney's starting to really feel uncomfortable. So she's like, you know what? Let's just go. So they get back to his car. And for whatever reason, maybe it was something in the front seat, or maybe she just didn't want to be so close to him. She gets in the back seat. And he gets in the driver's seat initially, but he starts to like climb into the back seat once they're in the car. And she's like, yo, what the hell are you doing? And she's looking and she's realizing that his back seat is covered in plastic. If that don't sound like some serial killer shit. And so he just gets back there into the back seat with her and he just grabs her and he proceeds to start raping her. And she's traumatized. She's in so much shock. She's crying, stop, don't do this, get off me. And he tells her, I'll stop when I'm done. And he literally continues to rape her and she's just laying there numb. And when he's done, he drives her back to her car and she leaves to go home. And she's, trying to process it as it's going on. But when she looks at her DMs, she's telling him like, why did you do this to me? And she sees he started deleting all of the prior DMs that he had with her. She just met this man that day and she's been sexually assaulted by him. but he doesn't care. He's doing him. Now, he wasn't just out here raping girls and sitting on his ass. He was still working. In 2018, he ends up landing his biggest role yet, which was the role of Juju in the 2018 adaptation of Superfly. Y'all remember that movie with Trevor Jackson, Jason Mitchell, and the beautiful Lex Davis? So yeah, he played Juju, which was one of the members of Snow Patrol, the gang that had the all white on, and he had like that little fake ass tattoo of a cross in the middle of his forehead. And all I kept thinking was, this is a bootleg soldier boy looking ass nigga right here. But anyway, that was his breakout role, and it was just, I don't know, it was weird because it was similar to what the fuck he was doing in reality. Because in the movie, he was getting mad at girls rejecting him, and like he starts popping off with Priest and, you know, his boys and all of that. And he actually, in the movie, he accidentally ended up shooting one of the girls. And Priest was, you know, the guy that was played by Trevor Jackson. He rescues the girl or whatever, gives her a stack of money, and basically tells her, like, yo, don't tell nobody we were here, because Priest was trying to keep it low key. And of course, you know, the bitch ended up saying that they were there, but yeah. So, by all accounts, Kaalan is living his life after this movie's come out. He's got this big movie that just dropped in June of 2018. He's got girls just supposedly throwing themselves out of at him. His mother had gotten married a month after the movie dropped. He's doing good. But just a few short months later, he gets the rug pulled from under him because in September of 2018, the skeletons start falling out of the closet and a victim comes forward. Now, y'all remember that girl that was Kaylani's close friend that was comforting him and saying that she was feeling him and all of that? Well, Shotty Girl came forward and said that he raped her. Now, I don't know what sparked it. That part they didn't really make it clear in the court documents, but she told her mom about what happened. Her mom was like, "Oh, you need to press charges." So her mother was actually a cop and pressed charges on Kaylin. So they get that process going, and then several more women start coming forward, and they say that they were aspiring models and how they were connected through social media and all of that. And they talk about how he contacted them as far back as 2014. And on September 11th, 2018, Kaalan Rashad Walker was arrested for sexual assault. He was held at the Los Angeles County Detention Center, and his bond was more than $1 million. Naturally, you know, Kaalan is upset because he's just like, yo, this is just a money grab. Ever since I got this movie out, these money hungry hoes is just coming after me. I was real low key, but once the movie came out, all of a sudden bitches want to pop up and say that I raped them. And he says that part of it is because the girl that was supposedly kicking it, you know, with him, that was Kaylani's friend, was married. And when she got caught fucking around, she didn't want to admit that she was cheating. And instead, she tells her spouse, well, baby, it's not like you think it is. And her husband is like, well, unless this nigga raped you, it's exactly what the fuck I think it is. But Kaylin says that's how it all started. She told her husband that she was raped and didn't want to own up to the consensual sex, and her husband told her to go to the cops. And according to Kaylin, the mother, that was the police officer, paid the other girls to come forward and testify and say that he sexually assaulted them. Now, I know enough about law enforcement to know a regular patrol officer, their income ain't hitting like that to where you can be paying that many girls, considering that there were almost 30 girls that came forward by the time this was done. It ain't like you can just say, hey, here's $30, come testify. Like, I'm pretty sure that if a girl is going to lie about sexually or being sexually assaulted, you're going to have to break them off with some racks, some bands on bands on bands. And unless you got a bomb ass 401k plan or something like that, or you hit the lottery and you just go to work for the hell of it, that ain't happening, boo. Plus, I just really don't believe that she paid these women. But again, I'm gonna wait till fair or foul to speak my piece. Okay. So Kaylin's arrested and the investigation begins, and they find out that three of the girls were only 16 at the time, Jade Everin being one of them. So once he was arrested, girls just started coming forward. They are coming forward left and right, day after day after day. And I guess because of the fact that he was now behind bars, maybe they felt more comfortable. I don't know. But almost 30 women came forward saying that they were sexually assaulted by him. And the more women that piled up, the more cases that piled up. The girls that he allegedly raped were ranging from ages 16 to 22. So Kaylin gets him an attorney, Andrew Flyer, and they start working on, trying to get him released. But he's held for a good little minute because $1 million, yeah, that's steep. And you just starting out as an actor, woo-hoo, yeah, you ain't going nowhere, homeboy. So eventually, Kalen posts bond and he gets out and he goes home. And part of the stipulation of his release was that he wasn't supposed to be around teenagers or minors or whatever and wasn't supposed to be photographing them, but damn sure. And during this time, everybody is knowing what's going on. So he's still hitting girls up, telling them that he can make them famous and all of that. But I guess he feels like he's invincible. I don't know. His attorney is out there fighting to try to get the cases dropped and everything. And while he's out, Kaylin does an interview with Jason Lee. Now, everybody and their mama knows Jason Lee. I love him. Shout out to Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked. He's been in everything. Hollywood Unlocked, Wildin' Out, all of that. You've seen him on reality TV as far as like Love and Hip Hop and shit. Like he's done everything. I love him. Okay. And he's interviewed people like Tank, the whole stalking situation with Monique Slaughter. He interviewed Floyd Mayweather. He's brought up political issues like the Trayvon Martin campaign, social equality. He gets into the reality TV aspect, of course, like, Safari, Lil Mama, Tommy Lee, all of that. But Jason is well known, a well-known social media influencer and just outright star. So he speaks with Kaylin, and Kaylin is giving him an exclusive, basically telling him how all of these people are in the industry trying to get me. And he tells them, he tells Jason, say, I got like this video, I got this tape of me and Halle Berry. You think that Hollywood Unlocked might want to put that out there? And this is where I start to think.
Now you see something. Now you see now. You done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
Again, I say, nigga, really? What? Halle Berry? The chick who has had some of the finest men in the world. And she wants you? She want to give your mealworm built ass head? Halle Berry, the actress? Like, she want to give your light bulb shaped ass head? Halle Berry, who has fucked with some of the baddest niggas out there, and want to give your ass head, and you over there shaped like a glowworm? Really? Get the fuck out of here. And even Jason don't believe this shit. Jason is just like, nigga, really? And of course he doesn't outright say it like that, but he tells him in a nicer way than what I just said. He's like, bruh, if you release anything about an icon like Halle Berry, your career is going to be dead before it even starts. And I agree, because why would you be so dumb? You are committing industry suicide. If Halle was gonna say that, don't you think she would say that about a nigga with clout like Denzel or Blair Underwood, Shamar Moore? So shit. She was with Eric Benet. Nigga. You're not even in the same book as any of them. Like, you are legit a walking cartoon. Y'all, that made me so mad when he said that. And so, like I said, Jason, conducts the interview with Kaylin a little later on, where Kaylin is getting the opportunity to talk about, his side of things. Now, he did 2 interviews with him. He did that first interview where Kaylin was like, oh, I'm trying to release this video. And then he did an interview later on with him when he was out on bond. And so he gives him the opportunity to talk about his side of things and what he feels. And Jason, he's asking him these questions about the victims and all of that. And Jason had already interviewed Sydney Stanford and Tierra Kelly previously in another interview. And one thing that bugged the hell out of me is that every time Kaylin got ready to say something, he would say, I want to make it very clear. And honestly, I think he was lying when he was doing that shit. But anyway, so he tells Jason, listen, these girls are lying on me. I never even met Sydney. And I mean, he's like discrediting them to the fullest. So then Jason catches him all the way off guard and he says, well, what about the comments that you made about Halle Berry? Kaylin looked like he about shitted himself. He says, well, what you talking about? And Jason's ass happily reminded him. He was like, well, do you remember when we were talking last and you said that you wanted to release a video of you and Hallie and how she had asked to give you head? Baby, this nigga Kalen flipped the script so fast, he got real serious then. I don't remember talking about a relationship with her. Listen, she's a great person. We did a movie together in 2017 called Kings. I have nothing but the utmost respect for this woman. So Jason, he pushes a little bit more. He was like, so you don't remember none of that shit we talked about, huh? And Kaylin was adamant. I don't remember that. I want to make it very clear that I would never disrespect a woman of her caliber. Nah, nigga, you disrespected her the minute that you associated her doing anything sexually with your Sid from Ice Age looking ass. But Jason wasn't tripping. He on his ass. Pause. Anyway, so Jason was hitting him with the hard questions and he brings up the accusers and he tells Kaylin, well, it's a lot of women that are coming forward talking about this. They can't all be lying. And once again, Kaylin is like, oh, I want to make it very clear, my family is affected by this. The woman that I love is affected by this. My parents, yada, yada, yada. He tells Jason, I'm receiving death threats, and my girl is receiving death threats because she's standing by my side. Y'all know what I gotta say to that?
Middle finger to my haters. Are you bitch jealous? Fuck y'all.
Because, bruh, fuck you and your girl. Like, y'all, I tried my hardest to find out who this girl was, but supposedly Kaylin went and got married. He married the love of his life, and, she stood by him, was putting money on his books and all of that. How convenient that you find the love of your life as you're facing all of this time. Now, at this point, Kaylin is facing 50 to 150 years in prison. So he's facing all of this time in prison if convicted. He just so happened to do another interview with this cat named Wiley on YouTube that I saw. And I remember that he was just so adamant about him being innocent and how nobody would give him the opportunity to talk and all of that. And this interview was done like right before his sentencing in court. And he tells Wiley, listen, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. Y'all saw the documents and the evidence that I presented. And Wiley's like, why would your attorney tell you to show documentation and to show evidence before your trial? But Kaylin's not trying to hear that. Every time Wiley asked him a question, Kaylin would cut him off and just go off on his rants. I'm sick of people saying this and I'm sick of people saying that. At the end of the day, I'm going to be the first man to beat the Me Too movement. How you gonna sit up here and slam me and don't know the facts? I'm innocent until proven guilty. Y'all taking the victim's side. Clearly, this nigga don't get it. You had a total of 30 women come forward. 30. Even if it was a situation where some of them, weren't telling the truth, it's 30 of them, motherfucker. 30. Some of them were able to give descriptive information about your crib, about your body. Not to mention, you were fucking with minors. Funny how he tried to check Wiley, but he didn't do that shit with Jason Lee. And Jason, of course, asked him about his beef, with Kaylani and all of that. And Kaylin goes and starts explaining then, their prior relationship and how he helped her. And it was like he almost spent more time talking about her than the case. He says, as somebody who was in a relationship with you, as somebody who was in love with you, and you felt the same way about me, I'm very disappointed that you'd even take it this far versus just calling me on the phone. So before I explain this story, Kaylani, I wanted to let you know that if you want to have a conversation, we could still talk after this, but you inserted yourself into the situation that had nothing to do with you. So right now, I'm not attacking you, love. I'm just defending myself. To which again, I give a humble boy, fuck you. Okay? Because you are very much attacking her and you spent more time talking about her than you did about trying to clear your name. But go off. And so when Kaylani found out about, Kaylin being arrested, she made a post where she said, I'm standing with the victims of a serial rapist who I know personally to be aggressive, dangerous, and twisted. And she started to speak out about his rape allegations. And well, Kaylin didn't take that too well. And he decided to put out like a little diss track about Kaylani called Something to Say. And then he starts tagging her on Instagram and he's calling her out. And they're just kind of going back and forth or whatever. But March 2019, he gets a little bit of a break. And I mean, very little, because he ends up getting his bond reduced to $400,000. And On top of that, there were about 10 cases that actually got dropped from the multiple women that came forward. Some of them, their identities were kept a secret for the simple fact they were minors, or they didn't want their real identities out there. So they used names like Jane Doe, which is the name that the girl that was really close with Kaylani used. And so, Kaylin is loving this because he's like, now he's boasting, like, yeah, if I was guilty, why would they drop all of these cases? If I was guilty, why would 10 cases get dropped? If I was guilty, why would they reduce my bond? Nigga. Okay. So he gets out, and this is when he's, doing his interviews and everything. And his trial gets delayed because of COVID. But like I said, he's going around telling everybody he got out because he was innocent. Yo, why would I get out of jail if I wasn't innocent? Why would they let your boy out if I ain't do nothing wrong? They let you out because of COVID, dummy. But whatever. So he's released temporarily. And then in 2022 is when his trial begins. So April 2022 rolls around, and his attorney, Andrew Flyer, is fighting for him. The prosecution was District Attorney Yasmin. Ooh, I'm about to fuck this name up. Y'all, I'm about to sound like Willie from Melanie Mysteries. The prosecution's name is Yasmin Fardgasami. I really want to call her Lord Farquhar because just looking at the name, that's what it looks like. But I'm going to just say Yasmin. And then you've got Judge Joseph Brandolino presiding over the trial. So Yasmin, the prosecutor, starts bringing every last girl up on the stand. And they're all recounting their experiences and their trauma. Sydney talks about how she was, embarrassed that she was raped by him because he was so little and scrawny. And of course, one of the questions that was asked was, why didn't you come forward? And majority of the girls all said the same thing. We were shocked. It was hard to register what was happening. Jada even said on the stand, I went home and it took some time to really realize that I had just been raped. And even then, I didn't know what to do about it because I thought no one was going to believe me. She talked about how she confronted Kaalan and how he broke down and all of that, and how she felt naive. Tell me why, though. Tell me why Sydney, one of the victims, found out through Twitter that Kaalan had been released from jail. The DA at the time, DA Gaskar, had changed the system on how victims are notified. Now, when you are a victim and someone is incarcerated, you're supposed to be notified when they're released from jail. But DA Gaskar had changed the system where they can change how they notify the victims. And on top of that, they can no longer dictate how or who Kaalan worked with. Then on top of that, the detective that was doing the investigation on the case ended up going from sex crimes to robbery. And so, some of the girls couldn't even get in touch with the detectives. Like, that was insane. And a lot of the prosecution thought that it was kind of suspicious that Kaalan ended up marrying his girlfriend, which I think was to keep her from testifying against him. But they made it clear to the jury. Yasmin was like, listen, Kaylin's praying mantis looking ass is a predator. When they said stop, he didn't care. And that's what unites all of these women today. The single thing that unites all of these women is the defendant, Kaalan Walker. Now, the defense is also going hard, and they're saying that, well, these girls are just money hungry. Mr. Walker maintains his complete innocence to the charges and the allegations. The defense is very confident that the convictions will be reversed. The pattern of Mr. Walker is to make false promises, and they bought it. Each one of these women voluntarily made their own decisions. He didn't force them. It's payback to Mr. Walker, and we're not going to let that happen. Basically, the defense is saying, listen, if he's guilty of anything, he's guilty of fucking with these girls that lied about their age. But it wasn't rape. It wasn't sexual assault. He was just stupid. Now, I don't disagree with that. He is stupid. And something else that I found kind of intriguing is that when all of this was going on, some of his classmates started speaking up. One of his classmates from Chatsworth High School, this chick named Armani, she did an interview for a local news station, and she talked about how when they were in high school together, Kaalan was touching her inappropriately, and she told him no, and she told the reporter that he was always awkward with women and all of that. It just seemed kind of weird that all of a sudden everybody's coming forward. So they go through this trial. All of these women testify, and the prosecution provides all of this evidence, and the jury is dismissed to deliberate. And when they come back, Kaalan Rashad Walker is found guilty of 3 counts of forcible rape, 1 count of sexual assault to commit oral copulation, 2 counts of statutory rape, and 2 counts of rape by intoxication. Now, he was acquitted on 2 counts of affordable rape and 1 count of sexual penetration by force. He had to wait a few months for his sentencing, which is a whole other issue in itself. But when he was convicted, a lot of the girls felt a sigh of relief. On October 18th, 2022, the judge sentenced Kaalan to 50 years to life for sexual assault. Plus, he has to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. When Kaalan heard his sentence, he started crying like a little biznai. And his attorney was just like, his sentencing is just draconian. The trial was unfair. Well, I guess that's why it's a trial. And Kaalan is taken to the High Desert State Prison in Los Angeles, California, and has been there since January 18th, 2023, as inmate BT3542. Since he's been incarcerated, though, he's done a couple of things that have been just off. One of which was an interview that he did recently where he just exposed the fuck out of his mama. Again, I don't know how true this is, but in a recent interview, he talks about how Kyoko supposedly kept him away from his father for 26 years and, how he met his dad and he was under the impression that, his father didn't want him. And he was under the impression that his, father was just some deadbeat. But when he met him, his father was like, no, I very much wanted you. Your mom had me paying child support and all of that. And his father proceeded to show proof of him, paying that child support. And Kyoko was, kind of mad and supposedly told him, well, your daddy don't give a shit about you. He don't want you. And so when Kaalan called and started talking to him and questioning him, he's like, yo, why would you keep my dad from me? She gets mad and she's all demanding, like, why would you want to connect with him now? And I'm just like, okay, I really wish that Kyoko would have swallowed this nigga. Ooh, I really, really wish she would have swallowed this nigga. But I digress. Now, if it's actually true, as far as his mama lying to him about his daddy, that's really fucked up because you don't purposely keep a child away from their father, especially the one that's trying to be, involved. Now, it's people out there that need to be kept away from deadbeat fathers because of other things. But, if he's actually doing what he's supposed to do, especially wanting to be involved, then I get it. So after the sentencing, Sydney Stanford, which was one of Kaalan's victims, she posts a beautiful, heartfelt message on Instagram. And she talked about how, he had mistreated her in 2017 and, it's been an endless nightmare. She thanked the singer Kehlani and India Marie for their support. So in her message, she said, this has been happening since 2017. It has felt like a never-ending nightmare. I have been in survival mode for 5 years. It is finally over. May this be your reminder that justice is possible. Your story does matter and that someone will believe you. This will never happen again. To all his survivors I have and haven't met, I love you by default and congratulations. The singer Kehlani also made a post as well where she says, I did not forget what bloggers and blogs and platforms felt like they had to play neutral and give a rapist a platform for the sake of clicks and views when this came out. I hope all of y'all beat your own fucking asses and eat your own words. This man is going to jail for the rest of his guilty life. I ain't really feel that part about playing neutral because I'm like, you can't really fault people for doing that. People play neutral because you're innocent until proven guilty. At least that's how it's supposed to be, but I digress. It just so happens that around this time, people were talking about how Kaalan had initially gotten bonded out in the first place, and it was rumored that it was Halle Berry or A$AP Rocky that did it. Well, just so happened, A$AP hears these rumors, and he posts on Instagram when people started saying that he was the one that bailed old boy out. He was like, I don't know this nigga. And Kaalan, had actually talked about it in his interview with Jason Lee, where he was telling him, he's not mad at A$AP because A$AP actually saved his life. Like, if A$AP was a chick, Kaalan probably would have said they were in love with him as much as he lied. But, Kaalan had gone to the club one night and Playboy Cardi was there with his people. And there was this chick that was there with Playboy Cardi. and they were being real disrespectful to her. And well, apparently Kaylin jumps up and was like on some Clark Kent, but even nerdier, leave her alone. And Playboy Cardi and his boys proceeded to beat the fuck out of him. He got his ear ripped open and he got his head shoved in the toilet. All of that, got fucked up for basically trying to defend this girl. And here come ASAP Rocky. He come in and he separates them and he's like yoking Kaylin up and like taking him out the bathroom and putting him in a chair to, make sure he good. And Kaylin talked about how he lost consciousness, but he could hear ASAP saying, "Shorty, you good? I'm so sorry." And so he told Jason Lee he wasn't tripping about what ASAP had to say, and he was cool with it. I'm sure you were, because nigga, who are you to go against ASAP Rocky? But okay. Now, despite his incarceration, like a lot of inmates, Kalen is still active on social media. He's still doing interviews and all of that, which I wish he would stop, because he's out here talking about how his mother and stepfather were sexually abusing him. This is why I said, damn, I wish your mama had just swallowed you. Like, it's wild. It's so wild, because where the fuck did all of this come from? But it does explain some things as to his behavior, so I can't necessarily say I don't believe it either, but he talks about it a lot. On June 21st, 2022, he made an Instagram post that says, "Currently serving a 50-year to life sentence in prison. After 2.5 years on the inside, here's what's going on. I currently have passed 6 college courses with straight A's. I'm currently on track to receive my master's degree in sociology, psychology, and communications. I am a current leader and speaker for an Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous group, which helps incarcerated inmates get and stay off drugs and alcohol in prison. I'm currently a lead speaker of a group called Fatherless Fathers, where I coach and teach other inmates of all races and ages how to deal with the trauma of growing up without a father. If I am motivating myself to keep going in here, you can do the same out there. Despite your current situation, always remember that God has the final say. Stay resilient." And then he posts a couple of other posts since then, like pictures of him where he's on set filming Superfly. And he talks about how he prays that he can get back on the screen one day. But that day gonna be a while, because he's not even eligible for parole until like March of 2039. It's funny how in none of his posts he mentions his wife, like at all. But yeah, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of Kaalan Walker, the raggedy ass rapist. And now it is time for Fair or Foul, where we look at the justice system to determine if the sentencing was indeed fair or if it was just some bullshit that's gonna have us sitting back saying, what the fuck? Woo, I've been waiting on this one for the whole damn episode. When it comes to Kaylin's sentencing, I believe that it was absolutely fair. I believe 50 years to life is definitely justified. Now, I can't say that you raped all 20 or 30 women or however many that came forward, but just based off the photos and the previous posts and the way that you responded to women and the things that you say, I can say that it was definitely some shit going on. I believe that you definitely raped some of those girls. Hands down. Now, the way that you talked about women and the way that you made it seem like you were just God's gift to woman, like you were just that nigga when you were nothing but an insecure, narcissistic, smug, vain, self-absorbed, egotistical, Napoleon complex having ass fuck. You were somebody that was basically a nobody. 2 movies and you acting like you Denzel. 2 movies and you out here acting like you just big ballin'. 2 movies, one of which you played a kid. Okay. 2 movies and it got to your head. Nobody wanted your ass. And whenever you did get a girlfriend or whenever you did get the attention from a female, you were clingy and needy and went overboard, as your social media clearly proves. And then to go as far as to physically force yourself on someone is beyond ridiculous to me. And I hope that when you are in prison that your pipe cleaner shaped ass gets bent the fuck over. I hope they are forcing you on your knees every single fucking night. You are vile and you are disgusting. You feel entitled and think that you are God's gift to woman when all actuality you are a curse. You were out here fucking these girls with no condoms, taking advantage of them, putting people's names in your mouth to try to make you feel like somebody that you weren't, abusing them and hurting them. You couldn't get it the normal way, so you felt like you had to take it. You are a sick, sadistic fuck and don't deserve to ever see the fucking daylight again. You do not deserve to see the outside, like the outside world again. Now, listeners, I am being 100% transparent with you all right now. If you can't tell, I am enraged, okay? I am a victim and an advocate of rape. And I actually take that back. I don't want to say I'm a victim. I say I'm a survivor. Y'all know that I keep it a band with y'all. I've been sexually assaulted twice in my life. My rape began when I was a very young child at 12 years old. I was in a situation where no one believed me and they knew what was going on. The people knew what was going on and forced me to be around my rapist. Every day was a battle, and every day I thought about taking myself off the earth because I felt like I couldn't come forward. If my own people didn't believe me, how could a stranger? How would a police officer? It's easy for me to put myself in these victims' shoes because a lot of times people say what they say why they can't come forward. People say, well, why did they wait so long? They waited because they were probably convinced that they wouldn't be believed by anyone, or because of their lifestyles, no one would believe them. I still think about how my jaw clicks at times when I'm talking or eating because of the abuse that I endured, both sexually and physically. I still think about the scars that I have on my body from being hit. I still think about me taking pills and thinking about committing suicide all those years ago. And that was from childhood. When I got older and was a grown ass woman, I made the mistake of putting my guard down and trusting somebody and was sexually assaulted yet again, this time by date rape. Again, I chose not to say anything because he was a man of power and made it clear that it would be my word against his. But I eventually bossed up and eventually pressed charges, and it worked in my favor, and he was convicted. And I thank God that I was able to get through it through therapy and prayer and learning how to cope. That is the biggest thing when it comes to victims and survivors of sexual assault and rape is learning how to cope. You will never forget it. It will never just go away. And a lot of women will black it out of their memory to try to just move on like it didn't happen. But the slightest thing can trigger and make you remember. The slightest thing can bring it all back and you come crashing down, especially in the Black community, because we as Black women, we as young Black girls are taught to keep it to ourselves. We are taught what happens in this house stays in this house. We are taught that, oh, you dressed the wrong kind of way, or oh, you did something wrong. Instead of just saying, hey, we need to address the person that did this. We are taught that it is our fault, and it is not. When I see men like Kaalan Walker, I'm disgusted because how can you be a man and claim that you're for women's rights in the Me Too movement? You sat there out of your mouth and said, I'm going to be the first man to beat the Me Too movement. Well, it beat the fuck out of you, homeboy. And I hope that when you're in prison, which is some high security institution where you're protected, that somebody eventually gets to your ass. I hope that your ass gets spread open so wide that it sounds like a fucking train whistling whenever you walk past. You sat there and tried to put the blame on everybody else and basically make everybody else seem like they were the ones in the wrong. You talked about how Kaylani was just so madly in love with you and didn't want to claim you. And she may have been, y'all may have been in a relationship. Y'all may have fucked around, whatever. But you talked about her like a dog. Yet you fucked her friend. Or rather, you raped her friend. So maybe she was embarrassed that she fucked you. Maybe she did sleep with you and was embarrassed to let people know because your ass was so fucking clingy, because your ass fucking ran your mouth and was bragging like you were in high school, which basically you damn near were because you were young as fuck. And this is no offense to, individuals that are bipolar, but this bipolar ass nigga right here pissed me off. Then you want to sit here and talk about how these women were so quick to come on to you, but yet we never saw a bitch posting about you. So who was really sprung, huh? Let's keep it a band, bruh. I strongly doubt that you could get women like that, and for you to have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to open your mouth and say that Halle Berry offered you head on video? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, be for real. Can we say delusions of grandeur? Bro, you the kind of nigga that just, ooh, you make my ass itch. Like, your brain literally told you people are gonna believe this shit. What it really is that people felt sorry for your ass to a degree. Jason Lee didn't tell you that shit about not releasing the alleged video to be funny. He was actually trying to save your dumb ass. Like, the fact that you really thought that people would believe that. The fact that you literally put that in your mind. Like, dude, of all the women, why would you say Halle? What reason? What reason would she have? What reason would you have to even mention her? Like you said, a woman of her caliber. What was your reason? Please let me know.
What was the reason?
Like, you sound dumb as fuck. Jason tried to warn you, okay? He knew how stupid it sounded, and he knew that your ass saying that Halle Berry, of all women, asked to fuck with you, some low-level B-list, not even B-list, D-list celebrity, and only had 2 movies, would want to do something like that is insane. You are a piece of shit. And now you get to spend the rest of your life behind bars thinking about how dumb you are. Then you want to come forward and talk about how your mom and your stepdad sexually assaulted you. And God help you if they actually did. That is the only empathy you will get from me. That is the only prayer that you will get from me. God help you if they actually did. If this was something that they actually did do, yes, I can see how it fucked you up. Because again, I've been through that. I can see how it explains a lot of the behaviors that you exhibit, because you on some serious Kanye shit right now. You just running your mouth for whatever. But that don't mean that you have to that defines you and makes you who you are either. I'm a survivor of sexual assault. Does that mean that I go around sexually assaulting people? No. Like I said, you on some real Kanye bullshit right now. And I think that you just saying shit just to get attention. And it's having a psychotic episode or something. Not everybody can be lying on you. You are the common denominator. You are the common factor. And in this case, you deserve everything that's coming to you. You could have been a really good actor and singer and artist and everything, but you fucked that off because you kept putting your dick in bitches and doing shit you had no business doing. So I am happy that they are giving your ass 50 years to life. And even if you do get out, if by slim chance, if by minute chance, come March 2039, they give you parole, you still got to register as a sex offender for the rest of your fucking life. If they don't get you in there, somebody damn sure gonna get you out here. But again, just my opinion, not advocating violence. Okay? Be clear. That is all for this week's episode of The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast. I'm sorry, y'all. That one got me. I went off on a little tangent. Sorry. I'm channeling my emotions right now. But that is all for this week's episode of The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast. You can follow the show on the various streams on Instagram and TikTok at Infamous One Podcast. That's a number 1, by the way, not spelled out. You can leave a review there. On X, it's Infamous One Pod, where you can also leave a review. On Facebook, you can join the private discussion group, the Infamous Ones discussion group, but please be advised, if you don't answer the questions, you're not getting in. It's just that simple. Once you get in there, let's chop it up, because we talk about the real in there and everyone has fun. Plus, I do giveaways and stuff when I'm feeling nice, like the free ticket that I just gave away to the show to Monique Coleman. The show streams on multiple streaming services like Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and so on. So, leave a review. It only takes a few seconds. The reviews do matter. And, speaking of those reviews, shall we? Now, the first one is from Apple Podcasts from 12 of Hour. And it says, love it here. Found you through the collab with Melanin Mysteries, and I must say you are great. I'm 3 episodes in, and I love everything about it, especially the accents. Why, thank you, darling. Some folks be trying to clown my accents. Like, I try not to do them too much because I don't want to oversaturate y'all. But, I be trying with my little, oh my goodness, and country accents and all of that. But much love and appreciation. The next review comes from Apple Podcast as well, and it's from Consuela113. Currently binging episodes. I have been binging this show for a week, trying to catch up. I am enthralled with the storytelling. You present the stories wonderfully. I just listened to an episode about my hometown, and the next episode is about my hometown too, Cleveland. By the way, you pronounced Cuyahoga perfectly. I look forward to listening to the rest of the Celebrity Crime series and all of the other episodes I am catching up on. Please keep it up. Love your transparency and the passion you have for telling these stories. Yes, honey. Listen, Ohio got some wild ass criminals, like insane. And some of them are very heartbreaking, especially like the one that really still clings to me this day is Anaya Day's story. But, I love that you are binging. Thank you so much. And again, y'all, I apologize. Apparently, half the episode didn't, take. So I had to re record, and the original episode was much longer than this. So I had to re record and re edit. So, yes, y'all are getting it on a Thursday instead of, on a Sunday. But you still gonna get your regular episode, okay? Okay, you still gonna get your regular episode on Sunday. If you want to support the show, or if you're feeling the spirit, meaning that liquor we've been sipping on, click the link at the bottom of the screen from whatever app you're listening to this episode on and hit listener support to subscribe. The subscription started like 99 cents and it gives you, access to everything. You can also donate via Cash App to $infamous1pod. That's $INFAMOUSONEPOD. Okay, donations go toward new everything from recording equipment, documentation, even these expensive ass phone calls to the inmates. And as always, shout out to the popcorn donators. Y'all make sure that I have my ish every week. Now, don't forget, Saturday, June 14th, 2025, I will be hosting my live show, The Meet and Greet, which will be held in Atlanta, Georgia at the Margaritaville, located at 155 Centennial Olympic Park Drive. I am happy to say the tickets sold out. Ayo! Y'all really showed up and showed out for your girl. All the tickets sold out, but no worries. I did put up 10 more tickets, and that's all I can do because it's an intimate space and I want to make sure everybody has enough room to eat and laugh and enjoy and all of that. And as of right now, there's only 8 more tickets because somebody bought 2 this morning. But you do have until the end of May. If you do not get your ticket by May 31st, you SOL. Tickets are not being sold at the door, and there will be somebody scanning to check everyone's tickets. Once again, congratulations to Monique Coleman, who won the free ticket to the show. Now, if you can't catch me in Atlanta and you're closer up north, come check me out in Cleveland, Ohio, July 12th, 2025. I'll be celebrating Melanin Mysteries' 1-year anniversary with Tiffany and Willie. It's going to be epic. It's a free event with free food and everything, and it's going to be a vibe, okay? This is how BTCC rolls. BTCC, we support each other. We rock with each other. We are the Black True Crime Collective. Legends alone, unstoppable together. And for those of y'all that missed the announcement, BTCC has gone live, baby. BTCC consists of myself, the infamous ones, Melanin Mysteries with Tiffany and Willie, Melanin Mayhem with the country girl Renee Davis, A Sip of Red Rum with Brittany and Deja, and Not My Brother's Keeper with King Arthur. So we've collaborated and joined together to form a powerful podcasting group. And if you have not followed us, make sure you check us out on social media. We have a private group on Facebook, Black True Crime Collective. You can join the group because we have a major announcement coming soon. I believe it may drop before this episode goes live. So by the time you listen to this episode, the announcement may have already been made, but make sure that y'all join the group. Check us out on Instagram, Black True Crime Collective, or you can look for the username B_T_C_C_C. You can also check us out on TikTok at Black True Crime Collective. I believe the username is also B_T_C_C_C. Now, we're also selling t-shirts. They go from small to a 5X. Small to, I believe, extra large is $35, and 2X and up is $40. But you can purchase t-shirts. They've been going like crazy. Don't forget, ad space is now available starting at $30. Get you a good old 30-second clip of ad space for $30. If you're interested, Make sure that hit me up, email infamous1pod@gmail.com. That's INFAMOUSONEPOD. And, like I said, just send me an email. A couple of other things I got going on is May 9th through the 11th. I'll be in Perry, Georgia at the Savage Tattoo Expo. There's going to be a lot of different vendors there and, of course, tattoo artists. Or you can check me out May 17th in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Boozy Book Tour. I'll have copies of my new book, Captive. Make sure that you check the website, mzkaye.com. Keep up with all the latest releases and information pertaining to both books and the infamous ones. If you have a case that you want to hear more on that you feel has been ignored in the Black community, if you want to inquire about ad space, or if you want to leave a review, send me an email to infamous1pod@gmail.com. That's INFAMOUSONEPOD@gmail.com. Once again, people, please share, share, share. This podcast is growing by the day and it means the world. So keep sharing. Until then, y'all know what it is. I'm your girl Kay. Thank you for tuning in to the last episode of the Celebrities Who Thought They Were About That Life series. And I'll see y'all in just a few days with a brand new episode. Stay mobbing, y'all. Peace.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast hosted by Kay. Be sure to like and comment on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe so that you never miss an episode.